Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope your Tuesday is going well. For some of you, it's already the early evening. And Seth Walder has dropped some more data in handy dandy chart form. And because I made a video partially about this last week, I figured it would be a good idea to follow up with another video looking at what this can tell us because it relates to the video I made about our edge rushers last week. So, what he has here is a chart that shows the effectiveness of interior defensive linemen rushing the passer so far this season. And you guys might remember last week I made a video about edge rushers in the NFL. And you looked at the chart of the success rate of rushing the passer versus double team rate. The Seahawks had three players that had very high pass rush win rates in Mafe, Nwosu, and Taylor. And all three guys were also being double teamed infrequently. It was actually very rare that they had to deal with double teams. So, what I said was, this is a pretty clear indication that our defensive line is doing their job. Because if our edge rushers are getting single teamed so much, and it's all of them, it's not like Nwosu's always getting double teamed, so Mafe never gets double teamed. It's not like, oh, Nwosu's always getting double teamed, so that's why Taylor never gets double teamed. None of them are really getting double teamed very much. So what that must mean is that our defensive linemen are doing a good job winning their battles and eating up double teams so that the edge rushers get one-on-one. So I basically said this is a strong indicator that while our edge rushers are playing well, our defensive linemen are allowing them to play as well as they are. And this chart will kind of indicate whether or not that is the case and to what degree it is the case. And boy, howdy, did we get some very impressive and also some very telling results from this chart. So take a look at this. The double team rate is the x-axis here, and the pass rush win rate is the y-axis here. So the further you are to the right, the more you get double teamed, and the further you are up, the more you are winning your pass rush reps. So you want to be in the upper right quadrant, basically. This is like the good place. This is where you're dominating. So you take a look at the very top corner. You can see there's one guy who was head and shoulders above everybody else in Draymont Jones, who, by the way, is now out for the season, I think. So Draymont Jones was just murdering everybody else. He was in tier 1 and there was no tier 2. There's like nobody in tier 2 because when you're putting like a tier list on something like this, you want to go in stripes like this, starting up here and going down here, and then like the top right is going to be your tier 1, and then you're going down into the left, and the further down into the left you go down in tiers. So tier 3, because tier 2 gets skipped because nobody's in tier 2, is basically Jalen Carter, Christian Wilkins, Jarran Reed, and maybe Quinnen Williams as well. That's right, I said it, Jarran Reed. On this chart, he is one of the most double-teamed defensive tackles in the entire NFL, getting double-teamed more than 70% of the time. The only guys getting double-teamed more would be guys like DeForest Buckner, Grady Jarrett, Kobe Turner, Grover Stewart, Montravius Adams, and a lot of the guys who are getting double-teamed, actually everybody who's getting double-teamed more than Jarran Reed has a significantly lower pass rush win rate. And speaking of pass rush win rate, Jarran Reed also has one of the highest success rates of any defensive tackle in the league. The guys who are ahead of him are Draymont Jones, Jalen Carter, Christian Wilkins, Quinnen Williams, Javon Hargrave, Jeffrey Simmons, and that's it. His pass rush win rate is higher than Aaron Donald, higher than Dexter Lawrence, higher than Ed Oliver or DeForest Buckner. I mean, this is kind of crazy because Jarran Reed was a little bit of an off-season afterthought. Like, he signed for, what was it, 2 years, $9 million? He signed in the first wave, but this was not supposed to be some big impactful signing. And I know we're playing him at his natural position, but it was his natural position almost a decade ago. So Jarran Reed is playing like an all-pro right now. I'm not saying he's going to keep it up. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-pro at the end of the season, but we knew how good he was playing. We knew he was playing really well. I mean, you go to PFF, his numbers are good. He's got 15 pressures in 4 games from the nose tackle position. He's got the sacks. He's doing it all. He's absolutely killing it out there for the Seahawks. But this chart really shows just how good he is. Through the first part of the season, the only defensive tackle that is definitively playing better than Jarran Reed is Daquan Jones. And the only ones who are definitively playing as well as Jarran Reed in terms of rushing the passer are Carter, Wilkins, and Quinnen Williams. So this is an absolutely crazy amount of production and a crazy amount of high level play from a guy who had kind of been passed around the league the last few years. He had been jumping from team to team for years now, and suddenly, look at him go. So that's Jarran Reed, but we can't forget about Mario Edwards here, because if you take a look at where Mario Edwards is on the chart right here, he is getting double teamed at an above average rate, because average is about 61%. Looks like Mario Edwards is getting double teamed about 66% of the time. So he's eating double teams about 2/3, and his pass rush win rate is slightly above average. It's around probably 0.12, so 12%, which is right above average. This line right here is basically the point of being average. So you got to give it up to Mario Edwards as well. And again, he's another guy. We know how good he's playing. And consider this guy was a complete afterthought. He was a free agent in, when did we sign him? June, July? He went through wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4. He went through every wave of free agency and probably thought he wasn't even going to start the season on a team at a certain point. Like Mario Edwards was probably thinking, I guess I'm just going to be waiting for people to get hurt and I'm going to be sitting at home. We signed him on a less than veteran minimum contract because of there's a clause that gives teams a little bit of financial assistance signing these veteran players at a certain point. So we are literally paying him less than veteran minimum against the cap. And we are getting this kind of production. He's averaging 3 pressures a game according to PFF. His pass rush grade on PFF is incredibly high. And this chart strongly indicates that he's doing it despite getting double teamed at an above average rate. So, however you want to look at Mario Edwards, he's playing effectively as well. He is probably a tier 5 guy right now, tier 6 maybe, depending on how you look at it, because again, you're doing the stripes. But he's in the good quadrant. Now, there's one other Seahawk on this list, and this is actually the guy who got the big money, and he's the guy who doesn't stand out in this chart, so that's a little, maybe, I don't know if I would call it concerning. It's a pretty good problem to have, but technically speaking, yeah, Draymont Jones is the guy who's in the bad quadrant. He gets double teamed at a slightly below average rate, so he's around what is this, 56, 57%? And his pass rush win rate is slightly below average, about 10%. So, yeah, it's not that far away. Like, he's very close to the middle. You can see that Draymont Jones, if he just gets his win rate up a tiny bit and he gets double teamed a little bit more, not that I even want Draymont Jones to get double teamed a lot, it's not like I desire that, especially if Reed's going to pull double teams like this, then Draymont Jones, I mean, if you're getting single teamed more than the other guys on the defensive line, you got to eat. And so far, I mean, he's not playing badly, but you can't say he's eating. And he's the guy on this defensive line who's making big money. Now, again, I think that we as fans watch the games and we kind of see what's going on. You can see that Draymont Jones isn't playing great yet. You can go to PFF and see that he's playing decent, solid, effective, doing his job, but he's not really going above and beyond. He's averaging about 2.5 pressures a game by PFF standards. He's got a sack. He's made some good plays for sure. He had some nice plays against the Giants that were, didn't get counted as sacks or QB pressures, but probably should have been. But this is an interesting dichotomy, right? Because Jarran Reed is counting 3 million against the cap this year. Mario Edwards counting less than $1 million. Draymont Jones is counting 10 million, and he's the one on the big multi-year contract, and he's the one who's just kind of delivering mediocre to slightly below mediocre results. Now, I don't think it's going to stay that way forever, because Jarran Reed and Mario Edwards are both guys hanging around about 30 years of age. Mario Edwards is going to turn 30 before the playoffs are over, so he's almost 30 years old. Jarran Reed, as you can see, has already turned 30. These guys are not going to be able to play at this super high level the whole season, especially if they're playing a lot, which right now both of them are. So there's no way they're going to be able to play like all pros and pro bowlers for the whole season. So at a certain point, Draymont Jones, who is the guy who's actually in his physical prime, who is the guy who has shown flashes of dominance in previous years, which you can't really say about Reed and Mario Edwards, he's eventually going to have to step up. He's eventually going to have to start wrecking shop a little bit. He's going to be the one who has to eventually take advantage of these situations he's being put in. And I do believe that he will, but it won't be a consistent dominance. There are some guys in this league that are dominant every single game they play. Draymond Jones isn't that guy. The guys who are dominant every single game, they're getting contracts in the 20 to 25, in some cases even $30 million a year. Draymond didn't get that because he's not that level of player. I'm not expecting that. But he's the guy who, as Reed and Mario Edwards start to fade just a little bit here, which they will, I'm sure, there's no way Jarran Reed's going to be an all-pro defensive tackle this whole season. Draymond Jones has to pick it up. And I think he probably will. But, yeah, to summarize, you take a look at this, and it pretty much goes into what I was talking about. Jarran Reed is playing incredible football, and this kind of stuff is allowing our edge rushers to be amazing and allowing them to get these one-on-one matchups and allowing this pass rush to do what it's doing so far. By PFF standards, by the way, I think we lead the league in pressures per game. So, yeah, this is where it starts. This defensive line is killing it. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Just wanted to take a look at some of the data to confirm that some of the stuff that I was talking about last week. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys later, and go Hawks.